March 15th, 2023. Miami, Florida. Jessica Torres was 26 years old and had been living in Miami for 8 months. She worked as a marketing coordinator for a startup in Brickell, sharing a studio apartment in Wynwood with monthly rent that consumed half her paycheck. That Wednesday night, she had every reason to feel optimistic about her future. She never imagined that a simple ride home would end in the Everglades. The company happy hour at Blackbird Ordinary had gone well. Jessica's pitch for their summer campaign had impressed her boss, and her co-workers had insisted on celebrating with drinks. She nursed 2 cocktails over 3 hours, laughing at inside jokes and feeling like she finally belonged. By 11:30, most of the group had already left. Jessica pulled out her phone to request a ride. I remember her smiling when she said goodbye, recalled Marcus Chen, her colleague. She seemed really happy that night, confident. The app showed a driver 3 minutes away. Toyota Camry, silver, license plate ending in 847. Driver name, Robert Mitchell. Rating, 497 stars from over 2,000 rides. The profile photo showed a middle-aged man with a friendly smile. Everything looked normal. Jessica waited outside the bar, her phone in one hand, checking the app as the car icon moved closer. The street was busy with people moving between venues, music spilling from open doorways. She wore a black dress and heels, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. The Miami humidity made everything feel sticky. The silver Camry pulled up precisely on time. "Jessica?" the driver asked through the open passenger window. She checked the license plate against her app. It matched. She climbed into the back seat, clicking her seatbelt and settling her purse beside her. "How's your night going?" Robert Mitchell asked. He looked like his photo, maybe mid-50s, wearing a polo shirt and glasses. The car was clean, smelling faintly of air freshener. A rosary hung from the rearview mirror. "Pretty good," Jessica said. "Just leaving a work thing." "Those can be fun," he said, pulling into traffic. "I'll take Biscayne up to I-95 if that works for you." She nodded, already checking her messages. Her mom had texted asking about her weekend plans. Jessica typed a quick response, only half aware of the route they were taking. What she didn't know was that Robert Mitchell wasn't actually Robert Mitchell. The real Robert Mitchell was home in Hialeah, asleep in his bed. His rideshare account had been hacked 3 weeks earlier. The man driving Jessica was named Carlos Ruiz, and he'd been using stolen accounts to hunt for victims for the past 6 months. "You live in Wynwood?" the driver asked. "Great neighborhood, lots of art." "Yeah, I love it," Jessica said. She was still looking at her phone, scrolling through Instagram. Her last post was a selfie with co-workers captioned, "Team wins," posted at 11:42 p.m. She would never post again. The drive should have taken in almost 18 minutes. At first, everything seemed routine. They moved north on Biscayne Boulevard, traffic light at this hour. The driver made pleasant small talk about the weather, about Miami's nightlife, about how busy Wednesday nights had become. Jessica responded politely, but remained focused on her phone. She was texting her roommate, letting her know she'd be home soon. Then she noticed they'd missed the turn for I-95. "Excuse me," she said, looking up. "I think you were supposed to turn back there." "GPS is showing construction," the driver said smoothly. "Taking an alternate route. Don't worry, I know Miami really well." Jessica frowned, but returned to her phone. The app still showed her ride in progress. The map displayed their movement. Nothing seemed immediately wrong, just a different route than expected. Detective Maria Suarez investigated similar reports, said Miami-Dade Detective Maria Suarez, who would later work Jessica's case. These predators are sophisticated. They create plausible excuses. Construction, accidents, faster routes. By the time victims realize something's wrong, they're already isolated. They were heading west now, away from the coast. Jessica felt her first spike of real concern when she saw the neighborhoods changing. Fewer lights, fewer people. The businesses were closed, the streets emptier. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice sharper. "Just cutting through to avoid the highway backup," the driver said. His voice remained calm, friendly. "We'll be back on track in a few minutes." Jessica opened her app to report the route problem. But when she tried to send a message, nothing happened. She looked at her signal. 1 bar, then no bars. Her stomach dropped. "I need you to take me back to the main road," she said. She wasn't asking anymore. "Right now." The driver didn't respond. He just kept driving west. Jessica tried calling 911. The call wouldn't connect. She tried texting her roommate. The message showed as pending. She looked at the door lock. It was engaged. She tried the handle anyway. Nothing. "What's happening?" Her voice cracked. "Why won't the door open?" "Don't worry," the driver said. His tone had changed, colder now. "Just relax." Jessica's hands shook as she tried her phone again. Still no signal. They were in an industrial area now. Dark warehouses lining the streets. No cars, no people. Just empty lots and chain-link fences. "Please," Jessica said. "Just let me out. I won't report anything. Just stop the car." The driver smiled at her in the rearview mirror. It wasn't a friendly smile anymore. "We're almost there," he said. Jessica tried to think. She was trapped in a moving vehicle with a stranger who deliberately isolated her. Her phone wasn't working. The doors were locked. She was wearing heels, a dress, nothing practical for running or fighting. Her purse contained pepper spray, but it was in the side pocket, and reaching for it might provoke him. She remembered her self-defense class. The instructor had said to stay calm, look for opportunities, never give up. But right now, she had no opportunities. They drove for another 15 minutes. Jessica watched the surroundings shift from industrial to agricultural. Farms, nurseries, scattered houses with dark windows. Then even those disappeared. The road became narrower, less maintained. She saw a sign for the Everglades. The Everglades meant endless wilderness. It meant no witnesses. It meant no one could hear you scream. "Please don't do this," Jessica said. She was crying now, no longer trying to hide it. "I have a family. I have people who love me. Please." Carlos Ruiz had heard this before. 5 times before, to be exact. It never changed his plans. He turned onto an unpaved road. The Camry bounced over ruts and potholes. Trees closed in on both sides, their branches creating a tunnel. The headlights carved a narrow path through the darkness. Jessica could hear wildlife sounds through the windows. Frogs, insects, something larger moving through underbrush. The car stopped in a small clearing. The driver turned off the engine. Silence filled the space, broken only by Jessica's rapid breathing. The driver sat still for a moment and then opened his door. The interior light came on. Jessica saw his face clearly now. No more pretense of friendliness, just cold evaluation. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he said. He opened her door. Jessica tried to fight. She kicked at him, her heel connecting with his shin. He grunted but grabbed her ankle, yanking her from the car. She fell hard on the muddy ground, her dress tearing. She screamed, loud and desperate, even knowing no one would hear. She reached for her purse, the pepper spray. But he was faster, kicking it away into the darkness. What happened next lasted 40 minutes. The medical examiner would later document 12 separate injuries, defensive wounds on her hands and forearms, bruising consistent with strangulation, evidence of sexual assault, blunt force trauma to her head. Jessica Torres fought until she couldn't fight anymore. By 2:30 a.m., she was dead. Carlos Ruiz dragged her body deeper into the wetlands, nearly 200 yards from where the car had been parked. He left her in shallow water, partially concealed by sawgrass. Alligators were common in this area. So were snakes. He'd done this before. He knew bodies didn't always stay intact long in the Everglades. He drove back to Miami and returned to his apartment in Liberty City. He took a shower. He deleted the Rideshare app from his phone. He went to bed. At 7 a.m., he woke up and made breakfast, like it was any other Thursday. Jessica's roommate, Alicia Flores, called the police at 8:15 a.m. She never came home, Alicia told the dispatcher. Her voice was shaking. She always texts me when she gets in. Always. She didn't respond to any of my messages. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. The dispatcher asked routine questions. Did Jessica have somewhere else she might have stayed? A boyfriend? Family nearby? Was this behavior unusual? Very unusual, Alicia said. Jessica is responsible. She wouldn't just disappear. Something's wrong. I know something's wrong. Miami-Dade Police Department opened a missing person case. Detective Maria Suarez was assigned. She called Jessica's family in Orlando. She contacted her workplace. She pulled phone records. The last location ping for Jessica's phone was at 11:47 p.m., showing her in the vehicle heading north on Biscayne Boulevard. Then nothing. The phone had either died or been turned off. Detective Suarez checked Jessica's rideshare account. The ride showed as completed at 12:31 a.m. at Jessica's Wynwood address. But Alicia confirmed Jessica never arrived. The charge on her credit card was $23.47 for a ride that should have cost about $15. That was our first red flag, Detective Suarez explained. The ride showed as completed, but the victim never made it home. That suggested the driver was involved. The detective requested driver information from the rideshare company. They provided the account details. Robert Mitchell, age 52. Hialeah address, silver Toyota Camry. But when police went to that address, they found Robert Mitchell had reported his account hacked weeks earlier. He hadn't driven for the service in over a month. Someone had been using his stolen account. The case became an active investigation. Police issued an alert for the silver Camry. They pulled surveillance footage from Blackbird Ordinary, confirming Jessica had entered a silver Camry at 11:44 p.m. The license plate was visible in one frame. The plate was registered to a rental company in Miami Beach. Detective Suarez obtained the rental records. The car had been rented to someone using a fake ID. The credit card was stolen. The address was non-existent. But the rental company had security camera footage of the man who'd picked up the car. Police released his photo to the media on Friday afternoon. "Have you seen this man?" the bulletin asked. Wanted for questioning in connection with missing person case. Carlos Ruiz saw his face on the news. He knew he needed to leave Miami, but he'd waited too long. At 6:30 p.m. Friday, Miami-Dade police executed a warrant at his Liberty City apartment. They found the silver Camry parked in the building's lot. Inside the car, traces of blood in the back seat, mud samples matching the Everglades. Jessica's broken cell phone wedged under the driver's seat. Carlos Ruiz was arrested without incident. But they still didn't have a body. Finding victims in the Everglades is extremely challenging, said Park Ranger James Mueller, who assisted in the search. It's 1.5 million acres, alligators, water, decomposition. Bodies can disappear completely. Detectives interrogated Carlos Ruiz for 6 hours. He said nothing. He asked for a lawyer. The lawyer advised him to remain silent. Without a body, the prosecution's case was weaker. Everyone knew it. Then, 2 days later, a birdwatcher found something in the wetlands off Tamiami Trail. Jessica's body was discovered on Sunday morning, March 19th. She was partially submerged in water, her dress in tatters, her body showing signs of animal activity. But enough remained for identification. Enough remained for evidence. The medical examiner confirmed homicide. The DNA evidence was overwhelming. Fibers from Carlos Ruiz's car matched materials found on Jessica's clothing. His fingerprints were on her phone. Soil samples from his shoes matched the location where her body was found. "We had him cold," Detective Suarez said. Every piece of evidence pointed to him. The digital trail, the physical evidence, the witness reports. He'd been so careful with previous victims. But this time, he made mistakes. Previous victims. That's when the investigation expanded. Detective Suarez began looking into other missing women in the Miami area. Women who disappeared after using rideshare services. Women whose cases had gone cold. They found 5. 5 women over 18 months. Ages ranging from 23 to 38. All had requested rides late at night. All had vanished. None of their bodies had been found. None of their cases had been solved. Until now. Carlos Ruiz was a 47-year-old divorced father of 2. He'd worked as a mechanic. He'd had minor brushes with the law, nothing serious. Neighbors described him as quiet, polite, unremarkable. His ex-wife said he'd been controlling during their marriage, but never physically violent. "These predators hide in plain sight," explained Dr. Catherine Walsh, a criminal psychologist who consulted on the case. "They understand social expectations. They know how to appear normal, even trustworthy. That's what makes them so dangerous." Investigators discovered Carlos had been hacking rideshare accounts since late 2021. He'd taught himself through online forums. He'd steal credentials, create fake profiles using real drivers' information, then use those accounts to select victims. He targeted women traveling alone late at night. He disabled the safety features in his vehicle. He scouted locations in advance. He was methodical, patient, practiced. Jessica Torres was his 6th confirmed victim. Police suspected there might be more. The trial began in January 2024. Carlos Ruiz pleaded not guilty. His defense attorney argued the evidence was circumstantial, that the DNA could be explained by Jessica having been in his car for a legitimate ride. But the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. The hacked accounts, the rental car under a false name, the blood, the phone, the location data. The previous victims' families attended every day. They sat in the gallery and watched the man who'd stolen their daughters, sisters, mothers. Some wept. Some stared with cold fury. All wanted justice. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. First-degree murder. Kidnapping. Sexual assault. The judge sentenced Carlos Ruiz to life in prison without possibility of parole. Florida had sought the death penalty, but the jury recommended life instead. The judge agreed. "Nothing I say can ease your pain," Judge Martha Rodriguez told Jessica's family during sentencing. "But I hope this verdict provides some measure of justice." Jessica's parents, Miguel and Rosa Torres, released a statement. "Our daughter was kind, ambitious, and full of life," they wrote. "She trusted a system that failed to protect her. We hope her death leads to changes that will protect others." The rideshare company implemented new security features following Jessica's murder. Enhanced identity verification, in-app emergency buttons with direct police contact, random account audits, live ride monitoring for trips that deviate from expected routes. "We failed Jessica Torres," the company's CEO said in a statement. "We're committed to ensuring nothing like this happens again." But similar crimes continue. According to industry data, at least 45 rideshare-related assaults and murders have occurred in the United States since 2017. Women remain disproportionately affected. Jessica's friends created a scholarship in her name at the University of Central Florida, where she'd studied marketing. It's awarded annually to a student pursuing a career in digital marketing, particularly young women from underrepresented communities. "She would have loved that," said her former roommate, Alicia Flores. "She always wanted to help other people succeed." The Everglades Parkway, where Jessica's body was found now, has increased ranger patrols. Local advocacy groups pushed for better lighting and emergency call boxes along remote stretches, small changes that might help future victims. Carlos Ruiz remains at Union Correctional Institution in Rayford, Florida. He's filed multiple appeals. All have been denied. He refuses to reveal the locations of his other victims' bodies. Detective Maria Suarez still works missing persons cases in Miami-Dade. Jessica's file stays on her desk, a reminder of why her work matters. "Every time I close a case, I think about Jessica," she said, "about the trust she placed in a system that should have protected her, about the 15 minutes that changed everything. We can't bring her back, but we can honor her memory by doing better." Jessica Torres would have turned 28 this year. Her family still gathers on her birthday, sharing memories and looking through photographs. Her mother keeps her room exactly as she left it. Her father visits her grave every Sunday after church. She was more than a victim. She was a daughter who called her parents every weekend, a friend who remembered birthdays, a co-worker who brought homemade cookies to meetings, a woman with plans and dreams and a future that should have been. One ride home, one moment of trust, one predator who exploited a broken system. That's all it took to end her life. March 15, 2023, Miami, Florida. The night Jessica Torres trusted a rideshare driver and never made it home.